Okay. Okay, I see. Good afternoon, meanwhile, Asia Pacific distributor partners and customers. And good morning, meanwhile, EMEA distributor partners and customers. I'm meanwhile, Europe product manager, Albert. Today's presentation supposed to be, the speaker supposed to be Wen, but I will do it. And thanks for participating today's webinar. This webinar will be divided into 3 parts. The first part, I will present the configurable power solutions. It includes rack power DRP 3200, and then modular power LMP series and UMP series. In the second part, my colleague Dylan will introduce the technical specification of this product. In the end, we will have a Q&A section. And so during this presentation, if you have any questions about this product, you can use the Zoom text function to leave your question. And we will answer the questions at this section. Okay. And let's start today's webinar. Okay, first is the rack power. I think some participants may not be familiar with Meanwhile products. This page can give you an overview of Meanwhile rack power, charger, product category. From the table below, you can see at the left side, you can see a different power supply unit. The power range from 1,000 watt up to 3,200. For 1,600 and the 3,200, we also provide charger model. On the right side, you can sorry, wait a moment. We need to record the webinar. Okay. On the table right side, you can see different corresponding rack shelf for each power supply unit. We have RCP1U, RHV1U, RKP1U, and DHP1UT. For the output power and the key features, you can and the expandable power range, you can also find the information from this table. And I put here for your reference. I will not go to the detail. You can use it as a quick selection guide. And then let's see the key features of DRP 3200. It's a fully digital design power supply. You can precisely control the electronics parameters, and the power efficiency up to 94.5%. Can save the power and the cost of the total system. If we use the server power supply standard or certificate, I'm not sure you hear that. You know that it's a 80 plus. If we use the server power supply standard to test DRP 3200, the power efficiency can achieve 96%. It's the 80 plus titanium level. It's the best level of the server power supply. And for DRP 3200, it's with the high power density and provide the programmable voltage and the current functions. And this product support the hot plug, or you can call hot swap, and the parallel operation, and also support communication protocol, PM bus for standard product, CAN bus for option model. And this power power supply unit, we provide one standard unit power shift, DHP1UT8 to fit power system in a standard 19-inch instrument rack. And later, I will introduce the detail of the features. The first is a fully digital control technology. DRP3200 can control all electronic performance of the power supply through via the firmware. And this product is implement the patent resonance circuitry. With the resonance circuitry, it can provide wide output voltage range. For this circuitry, we already applied for the Taiwan patent and the United States patent. And we already obtained the patent. And what's the benefit this patent resonance circuitry? Compare with other competitors' products, the power supply with the resonance circuit. Here, I need to emphasize we are comparing the resonance circuit. For layer power supply, they only can provide the voltage adjustment from minus 5% up to plus 5%. But DRP3200 with the patent resonance circuit, the output voltage can adjust from minus 50% up to 25%. Let me make an example. For 148 volt output voltage power supply, it can adjust the output voltage from 24 volt up to 60 volt. And next is high power efficiency and the density. DRP3200 has a high efficiency up to 94.5%. It can reduce the heat loss to lower the cost for cooling. For example, the air conditioner. It can gain the benefit of power saving. And this product power densities is up to very high. We minimize this product size, so it can be used the system with the space limitation. From the picture, you can see it's a comparison for the Mingwell Generation 1 product with DRP3200. You can see the DRP3200 is smaller. And DRP3200 provide the programmable output voltage and the current function. You can connect the 5 volt DC signal to DRP3200 to adjust the output voltage and the output current. For the programmable voltage and the current function, my colleague Dylan will introduce more later. And the next feature is DRP3000 support the hot plug and the parallel operation. Last year, Mingwell announced we entered the system power solution field. The picture in this page are Mingwell internal system power testing. You can see the picture at the left side. When the power system is operating, we pull out the one power supply unit. You can see the LED inductor is turning red. It means the AC off. And then we plug in the power supply unit into the system. And you can see the LED inductor turning green. That means power supply AC OK or AC on. It's for the hot plug function. And from you can see the picture at the right side. It's a system power configuration. You can see it's can maximum 40 units in parallel, can expand the power to 128 kilowatt. And you can see the picture at the top side. It's a controller with a panel. It's Meanwhile Generation 2 controller for the system power and rec power. And for this product, it's still under development. We will finish the trial run production in the end of this year, and this product will be released in Q1 next year. Once we have more information, we will share with you. And DRP 3200 support the communication protocol. With the communication protocol, it can realize the digital power management. And PM bus is an open standard for data transmission, comments, and data format. So for the system integrator or electronic device or equipment manufacturer, they can follow the same protocol to develop the product. From the picture below, you can see with the PM bus communication protocol, you can monitor the power supply status and to check the output voltage, currents, and then check the power supply unit information. And then also can control to adjust the output voltage and current and or remote on of the power supply. And with these functions, you can DRP 3200 can apply to telecom equipment, servers, distributed power system, and charging equipment. And the next is the DRP 3200 support the CAN bus communication protocol. Most of the function features are similar to the PM bus. Compared with PM bus, CAN bus has excellent noise immunity. So for the system require the better noise immunity, they can use the CAN bus communication protocol. It can apply to the charging equipment, industrial automation equipment, avionic, electronics, and public transportation. And let's see the common application of rack power supply. For industrial automation, for the UV curing printer or burning equipment, for this kind of application, they require they are the heavy power consuming application, and they require the centralized power system. And DRP 3200 can parallel operation can up to 40 units, so suitable for this kind of application. For lighting, it can apply to the stage lighting. The picture is a real project in United States. This customer used the DRP 3200 as a centralized power system to power their stage lighting, and also also combined with the DMX lighting controller to control the stage lighting. And for telecom, for this kind of telecom application, they also require the distributed or centralized power configuration, and DRP 3200 rack power system also can be used. Okay, and next product is configurable modular power NMP series. Again, I think some participants may not be familiar with Meanwhile products. So this page can give you an overview of Meanwhile modular power supply category. From the table, you can see the left side is modular power from M module. We have a NMP 1200 with 6 slots, and the NMP 650 with 4 slots, and the UMP 400 is a fanless modular from M module with 3 slots. And from the table right side, you can see the corresponding DC to DC module cards. And NNS 240 is for NMP. The output voltage we provide 5 volt, 12 volt, 24 volt, and 48 volt. And for UMP module, we provide the NID D to D module, and power range for we have the 35, 65, and 100. And the output voltage we provide 7 type model. And for the key features, I put here for your reference. I will not go to the detail. And you can use this table as a quick selection guide. And this page is NP series. NP series is a meanwhile a previous version modular power supply. We have the NP 1000 with 7 slots, and the NP 450 and the 650 with 5 slots. For the DC to DC module cards, we have single output module, NS. We provide 11 type output voltage model, and for we also have the dual output module cards, MD series. And we provide 7 type output voltage combination. For the key features, I put here for your reference. And we talked about the key features of NMP series. NMP series is modular product design. It can customize different power configuration for customer. This product can plug in the NMS 240 DC module to configure a multiple output channel power supply. And this product with one standard unit, slim mechanical design, so it can be used in the system with the space limitation. And for the front end and the D2D module cards, they are separately certified with the safety standard. So they can be sold separately as component or as a set assembly of a power supply. And for the approvals, NMP certified with the medical and the industrial dual safety standard, and also comply with 2 types NOPP, medical installation regulation, and also provide the programmable voltage and current functions. In addition, NMP also provide the intelligent control functions. For the details, we will introduce. I will introduce later. Okay, let's see the first the key features. Modular power supply design. NMP series with the modular power design can customize the different power configuration or parameters in short time. For this modular power supply, you can add more D2D module cards to expand the output power. And for this D2D modules, you can in parallel or series operation can multiply the output current and the voltage. And each D2D module provide the programmable voltage and the current function, so it can meet a different system voltage requirement. An NMP series with the NNS module can expand to maximum 12 channels modular power supply. You may have a question. NMP 1200 only, as a previous page, we mentioned it only have the 6 slot. So how NMP can become 12 channels modular power supply? Here I need to mention we will have the dual output module. We call NND 240 new product in near future. This product is still under development. The trial run production will finish at Q4, and this product will release to the market in Q1 next year. Once we have more information, we will share with you. And next is NMP series is with one standard unit, slim mechanical design. Why we design with the slim mechanical design? From the picture below, you can see we put the NMP series and the MP series together. You can see the NMP series, the size is smaller. For MP series, this product already released to the market more than 15 years. So at that time, the limit by the old technology on the components. So the modular power supply used to be much bigger in size. So some system with the space limitation, MP series cannot be used. And as we know, nowadays, industrial and medical instrument become more compact and lighter. So to provide a better power solution, meanwhile develop the NMP series. We increase the power density of the front-end module and the D2D module. So you can see the size is the smaller. You can see the picture here. The NMP series compared with MP series, the size is 60% smaller. And for cooling, we use the fan with the higher airflow to boost the heat dissipation for power supply. And NMP series certified with the medical and the industrial dual safety. So it can apply to wide range product application. And it's also comply with 2 times NOPP, medical installation, and low touch current, smaller than 100 microamp. It can protect the patients from the risk of electric shock. For the medical installation and the safety information, my colleague Dylan will introduce more later. NMP series also also provide the programmable output voltage and current function. It's same as the DRP 3200 to connect with the 5 volt DC signal to adjust the output current and the voltage. And I put here for your reference. And the next is NMP series provide the intelligent control functions. It's featured with a remote on of DCOK T alarm signal. For remote on of signal, NMP can turn on off all the DC to DC module cards simultaneously or one by one. And for T alarm signal, it can send over temperature alert via the TTL signal to let your user know something wrong on the power supply to avoid the system crash due to the OTP condition. And let's see the applications of NMP series. For industrial automation, the first is a 3D printer. It's a real case in United States. This customer used NMP 1200 to power their 3D printer system. For this kind of system with the space limitation, and they have a different device need different power voltage. So, for example, the motors and the control board. So NMP can provide multiple channel output voltage can be used in this kind of system. And the next is the flight simulator. It's also a real project in United States. And for this kind of system, also usually with the several displays panels and the different control device. So it's also require a multiple output voltage. So NMP also can be used in this kind of system. And for medical equipment, for the first is the medical instrument. From the picture, you can see it's a surgery medical display. It's a real project in EU region. And for this kind of system, with the space limitation, and they require the power supply comply with the 6 medical regulation. So NMP series can be used. And for next is MRI scanner. It's a real project in China. This kind of system also with space limitation, and the system need the power to drive the motor and to power the diagnostic the computers, and the NMP again can provide multiple output voltage can be used in this kind of system. And the next product is the fanless modular power supply, UMP 400. And let's talk about the key features of UMP 400. It's a meanwhile entry level 400 watt modular power supply with this one standard unit slim design. It's around 37 millimeter. It's fanless design. Can use in the enclosed system or the system without convection cooling. And this UMP 400 model can plug in NID D2D module cards to create a multiple output power supply unit. And it's same as the NMP series. UMP 400 and the NID D2D module cards can be sold separately. But compared with NMP series, UMP series, the UMP 400 and the NID D2D module, the assembly need more welding work. So for the assembly surface, still need mean weld to support. For the approvals, UMP 400 certified with the industrial regulation. And for the circuit design, is referred to the medical regulations, and also comply with the 2 times MOPP installation. And UMP is fanless, even it's a fanless design, it still can provide a wide operating temperature from minus 30 up to 70 degrees. And then let's see the details of the features. The first is the advantage of fanless cooling. I think some participants already knew. If you join the webinar last week, the in-course webinar, we also mentioned this point. Please allow me to introduce again, because some participants may not know the advantage of the fanless cooling. From below table, you can see for the traditional cooling method, it's use the fan to cool the power supply. With the fan, we know it has the lower MTBF, and then the fan will bring the dust into the power supply. It will reduce the reliability of the power supply and then the end system. And the fan also causes the noise. To see the new cooling method, the fanless the cooling design without fan, it can extend the product lifetime of the power supply and the end system. And the user no need to replace the fan, so lower maintenance cost. And no fan, no noise, so it's suitable for the silent environment. And UMP 400 we also offer the enhanced cooling method. It can be installed with aluminum metal plate to get the better heat dissipation ability. From the picture below, you can see with the metal plate cooling methods, the operating temperature can increase to 80 degrees. I think in the first page I mentioned the original operating temperature only up to 70 degrees. So with the enhanced cooling method, it can extend to 80 degrees. And UMP 400 provide the flexible solution with the modular design. For UMP 400, the front-end module, we provide 24 volt and 48 volt. And for the D2D module, we have NID 35 watt, 65 watt, and 100 watt. And for each D2D module class, we provide seven type output voltage. So with different combinations, we can provide more than 3,000 combination power solutions. The picture in the middle is we use three NID 100 D2D module card insert to plug in UMP 400. And the table at the right side, you can see it's a different NID module cards model name and different with different output voltage information. I put it here for your reference. Again, UMP 400 is same as MP series. It's certified with industrial safety regulation, and the circuit design referred to a medical regulation. Also, we can apply to a wide range product application, and comply with two types of OPP, medical isolation, low touch current. If you use UMP used in the medical system, can protect the patient from the risk of the electric shock. And let's see the applications of UMP 400 series. For kiosk application, you can see the first is the self check-in machine for transportation. The picture you see is a real project in Australia. This customer used UMP 400 in the self check-in machine in airport. For this kind of application, it's no fan cooling, enclosed cabinet, and they have different device. They have several devices like a display, printer, and scanner. They need multiple output voltage, so UMP can be used. And then next is a self-service machine for casino. It's a real project in China. It's also used in the enclosed cabinet, no fan cooling, and also has different several devices need to it's require a multiple output voltage for the display, printer, and scanner. For healthcare, medical instrument they require the silent operation and certified with the medical regulation. UMP 400 fanless design can be used. For industrial application, a 3D printer is the system with the space limitation, no cooling fan, and they require multiple output voltage to drive the motor or the control board. So UMP 400 also can be used. Okay, it's the end of my presentation. I'm going to invite Dylan to introduce the technical specification of this product.
Okay, so thanks for Albert's presentation about the first part. And I saw some customers ask some questions about the MP and UMP series. And hope in the second section, after the second session, you already know the answers of the questions. And in the second section, I will mainly introduce three typical products: DRP, NMP, and also UMP. So basically, DRP is a fully digitalized high-power power supplies with IT approval, and NMP has dual approval with IT and medical certificate. UMP is a fanless configurable power supply with IT approval, but design refer to the medical certificate. So apart from the product introduction, I will also give you a brief introduction of the PM bus and the CAN bus, which is the digital communication protocol of the DRP series. And in the meantime, I will also introduce MOOP, MOPP, and give a quick comparison of MOOP and MOPP. So let's start with the first product, DRP 3.2K power supply. So basically, this is a rack multiple power supply, which needs to be used with the rack system. So if you are using the DRP series, you need to buy the rack to be used with the DRP power supplies. So one rack can support 4 power supplies, and you can connect 2 racks in parallel up to 8 units. So it's up to 25.6 kilowatts. So if you don't want to use the rack system, you can also use our DPU series. So for more information, you can check our spec online. So it has a 1U profile and also the built-in orange MOSFET. So in the past webinar, I've already explained what is the orange MOSFET. So basically the orange MOSFET provides the reverse voltage protections. For example, if you are using DRP for the motors, you don't need to worry about the mistriggering of the OTP protections. And for the charging protection, it can prevent the reverse linkage current from the battery. So this saves you the battery energy when you are using the battery after fully charged. So for the rack system, one of the features is the hot swap. That means if you are using the DRP for the redundant system or the parallel system, you don't need to disconnect the wirings if you want to install or replace the new units of the DRP series. Apart from the functions, it supports PV and PC programming. You can apply an external voltage for the output voltage programming, or you can also apply a second voltage for the output current programming. This could be done at the same time for the output current and output voltage. So this provides you a wide range of the applications. For example, if you are using the industrial applications, you can use PV function to adjust the output voltage. If you are using a constant current application, you can use PC to adjust the output current. And if you are using a special applications, for example, a redundant load, you can change both PV and PC to adjust your application loads. And it could also support the remote on-off and the auxiliary power with 5 volts and 12 volts. And apart from the analog control, you can send a digital control such as the PM bus for the standard models. And if you have some special applications such as the automation, if you need a CAN bus protocols, you can also send us a request. So let's have a quick look at the PC-PV control. So basically, the patent resonance topology gives you a wide range of the output voltage adjuster. You can adjust the output voltage from the 50% to 125%. So regarding to PC, you can apply an external voltage from 1 volt to 5 volts to adjust the output current from 20% to 100%. So basically, if you don't need the PC functions, for example, you just have an application with a constant voltage. By default, the PC was shorted with a 0 volts. So that means this gives you an overload protection of the output current at 110% of the rated current. So it has the resonance topology with a very high efficiency. The design was optimized at the rated voltage. So if you are using a wide range of the output voltage, please double check your application load within the directing curve of the output voltage and current. So basically, a DRP can provide automatically protection according to this VI curve, but for the performance reliability, please always check your application load before connections. So you can apply an external voltage according to the pin assignment for PV and PC applications. Instead of the analog way, you can also use the digital way for DRP series. By default, you can use a PM bus protocols. So basically, what is PM bus protocols? Originally, the PM bus, as the name indicates, it's called the digital power management protocols. So originally, the PM bus was first designed to monitor the whole power supply systems. So in the further development, the control of the parameters was introduced. So from the hardware layer, it's based on I2C. So I2C is a two-wire control system. You just need to connect the SDA and ICL line between the power supply and your PM bus controller. So SDA means the data line, which stands for the data or the information of your controller For example, you want to monitor or you want to write parameters to your power supply. The clock line sends a clock signal, which is a synchronizing signals to trigger the data in the proper way. Well, to read the PM bus, since it's an open protocol, that means all the commands was predefined, and you can find and download the command list in the public website. And the protocols of PM bus is based on SM bus, and you can also find and download the SM bus file from the website for free. Until now, we have 3 kinds of PM bus versions with different speed. So we are just keeping all the mirror power supply are keeping PM bus 1.1 versions with a speed of 100 kilowatts, the clock signal speed. So for more information, well, MIROP since last year, we already joined SMIF group. This is a group to help to the development and the promotion of the PM bus protocols. Just give you some extra information. So we already know some history of the PM bus. So how to use the PM bus and how to send a PM bus command if you already have a PM bus controller and DRP series. Well, if you check our instruction manual, you can find these command tables. And from this command table, there are several important informations. And you can also find this table, the same table, from the website online, since it's an open protocols. So most of the comments was already predefined. So for example, if you want to remote on-off of the DRP, you just need to write a command code according to the indication in the front column. So the command name and the description is the more information of the command code. So basically, you can check the command list and find the command code according to the functions you want to achieve through the PM bus. So in general, you can monitor and also write parameters to control the power supplies. For example, to change the upper voltage or change the upper current of the power supplies. And for this command list, you don't need to think about the command code and the command name. It's all the same for the open standards. So it saves you the engineer work, also the compatibility to the system. So how to connect the PM bus between the power supply and the PM bus controller? Let's have a look at the circuit connections. If you check our spec or the instruction manual, you can find these mechanical specifications. This is the back of the rack systems. And how to connect the wires. Just as explained, you just need to connect 2 function wires, SDA and ICL, and also involved with an isolated reference signals, which gives you a voltage reference of the data signal and the clock signals. Well, we are using the digital communications. So before sending a command to the power supply, you need to set up the address of each power supply. This is similar like the identification number that you need to set up a different address for each power supply. So from the controller, you will know which power supply you are monitoring or controlling. So combined with a modern interface, you can simply control or monitor the power supply by the touch panel or the button panels. So in details, how to set up the address before the connections. You need to set up the address for the power supply manually. And if we zoom in the address connector, you can see there are 4 deep in each power supply addressing connectors. So the 4 deep means the 4 bits of the address. So this gives you 16 kinds of address that you can change. So basically the address has 7 bits in total, but the first 3 bits is already fixed by the manufacturing. So for the meanwhile products, for DRP series, it's already 4. So the last 4 bits, it depends how you set up the address at the back of the rack system. So according to the position of the deep switch, you can find the model number of the address. So for example, if we are looking at SWC, which is the PSWC, so we set it at on, off, on. So this gives you address of 4. So combined with the first 3 bits, you just need to send 44 for the address for this power supply. So you can use the same way to set up the other power supplies. And in the hex, they don't have 10 to 15, but replaced by A to F. Okay, so this is some basic introduction of the PM bus. So let's continue with the CAN bus. So by request, we can give you the modification of the CAN bus protocols. So CAN bus protocol compared with the PM bus protocols, CAN bus protocol is more suitable for a more complex system because of its higher speed and also high immunity to the noise. For example, especially for the automation, it needs the highest safety, also a quick speed reaction of the interruption for the multi-master structures. For example, for different sensors, they need to operate at the same time. And different with the PM bus, they don't have SD and SCL signals, but in CAN bus, they use CH, CAN high and CAN low signals. This also indicate why CAN bus has higher immunity to the noise, because the logic of the CAN bus depends on the difference of CAN high and CAN low signals. A typical CAN high signals is from 0 to 2.5, and for CAN low is from minus 2.5 to 0. For example, if CAN high is 2.5, CAN low is minus 2.5, so this gives you a difference of 5 volts. So by a subtractor in the circuit design, we can easily attenuate the noise by twisting the CAN high and CAN low signal wires, because the noise on the twisted cable had the same phase. So by the subtractor, the noise could be cancelled in this way. So in contrast with the PM bus, we have the actual 120 resistors. This is due to the high speed of the CAN bus signals and long transmission lines. So this resistor can attenuate the reflection of the signals for higher power transmissions. So compare with CAN bus and PM bus. So basically, both PM bus and CAN bus use 2 wires, but for CAN bus, it's the differential signals. So for CAN bus, it has higher noise immunity. And PM bus is an open protocols that most command was already fully standard designed. But For CAN bus, there are 16 bits for the user data that's defined by the manufacturer. For example, if you check for the battery products, we define the charging parameters to set up a charging curve, such as the charging voltage, charging current, the timeout for the charging, for example. But for the CAN bus, the command was defined by the manufacturing. That means the command code might be different if you are using different brand of the power supplies. So the command was not in public for free. So if you need the CAN bus, you can order the sample and send a CAN bus protocol request to us. So after some introduction of the PN bus and CAN bus, for DRP applications, the first applications is the power water treatment. This is a typical electrolyzer applications that the resistance was changing during the operations. So we make some modification for this special case. We modify the maximum output current from 133 amps to 106 amps for easier PC control. And to fit the applications, we adjust the under voltage protection to 14 volts. So below 14 volts, the DRP units will shut down. So instead of these special applications, if you have applications with high power capacity requirement, you can also think about DRP and use in the rack system. So this customer needs a very high power and the CAN bus protocols. So you can find the prototype of the whole power models in the right. So after DRP applications, let's have a look at the NNP. So from the screen, you can find all the features of NP. So we have two kinds of NNP power models, 650 or 1.2K. So for 650 power, we have 4 slots that you can choose 4 kinds of slot. And for 1.2K, you can we have 6 slots. So you can find and to select from the 4 kinds of output models to insert into the 6 slots. But the maximum operating power should be less than the rated power of the NP series. Well, we have 4 kinds of motors with a high voltage range from 3 volts to 50 volts. And because each output model was isolated, so you can select 4 kinds of output models to connect in series and in parallel. So basically, MP has 2 approvals for IT and also the medicals. So what's the difference of the IT and medical certificate? So for IT, IEC 60368 and for medical 60301. So for the medical applications, it also consists of MOOP and MOPP. So basically, MOOP provides a protection for the operators. In contrast, MOPP provides a protection for the patient. So because the safety of the patients comes first, so basically MOOP has a higher level in terms of the insulation and the linkage current. So for NP series, it provides a double insulation from the primary to second side and the single, the basic insulation from the input to the ground. So from this table, you can see that MOOP also has a higher standards compared with ITE. And what's the application of MOOP? So MOOP basically is for the medical equipment which used under the operators. For example, all kinds of analyzers that the patients cannot get touched. So because MOPP has higher safety levels than MOOP. So you can also use MOOP for, you can also use MOPP standards for the application with requirement of MOOP. So for MOPP applications, this is the protection for the patient. So that means for this kind of applications, which the patient can get touched. So when we look more details for MOPP applications, we can also divide it into 3 kinds of medical applications. For example, type B, type BF, and type CF. So type B means the body. So this is within the distance of the patients, but there is no direct electrical contact with the patient. For example, the chairs, for example, the LED lights. And for type BF, it means the body floating. So the output is floating. This means the applied parts gives a direct contact with the patient. For type CF, means the cardiac floating. This has a straight, the most straight straight levels in terms of the linkage current. A typical application for the cardiac floating is a pacemaker. For example, it gets the physical contact with the heart. But basically, the different type is only the certificate for the application of the medical equipment, but not applied for the power supplies. So for the power supplies, you can check the linkage current and also the insulations. So the patient linkage here is the linkage current through the applied part to the ground. But basically, this is more related to the applications, but not the power supplies. So back to the products, how to select NP products. Well, we provide 4 kinds of output models, with each output model at 240 power, range from 3 volts to 55 volts. First, before selecting the output models, you need to decide the power of your systems. We have 2, 650 or 1.2. And after defining the power of the applications, you need to decide the application load of your applications. You can select from these 4 output models, and in the near future, we have a new output models, NMD series. They provide a dual output with 30 watts and 5 amps, but you can adjust by the output voltage for each model from 3 volts to 30 volts, but the maximum output current was always fixed. And after selecting different output models in different slots, you need to also indicate the code. That means the configuration of the output models in NP. So where can you find it? You can find it in our spec or the instruction manuals. For example, if you want to increase the output current for the output models, you can connect the output models in parallel. And according to this table, for example, after selecting the output models for each slots, you need to define the code at the last. So from this table, you can find the slot 3 and slot 4 was in parallel, which is the same as what you want for the output modelers. then you just put 3 at the back. It's also possible to select yourself if you don't have any electrical background. You can find this table in our website. This is a quick show for you to see how the table works. You just need to type in the output voltage and the output current unit, and the table will automatically help you to select the output modulus for each slot. And you can also find the configuration details, which is the models that you need to order. So let's have a quick video of MP series. So let's continue for the application of MP series. So basically the configurable power supply is suitable for the applications which needs a multiple load. So the first application is a navigator which needs a multiple output load for the screens and for the motors, for example, and also the medical components. And the second is the dental unit that you can use the MP series for different modulars, for example, also similar with the last applications such as the screens, the machine arm, and also the chairs. So let's have a look at the next configurable power supply for UMP products. So UMP product has IT approval, but does not refer to the medical certificate. It's a fanless power supply, and with the option for output models. So this is an overview of the products and also the block diagram. And you can find for the UMP, you can find the holes. So this needs some soldering work from the factory and cannot directly assembled by the customer. We provide few NID card, which is the modelers for UMP series with different power and also the output voltage. For UMP configurable power, we have a mean output and also 3 configurable output channels. So UMP is when you combine with UMP and NID card, since NID is a step down design, so the output voltage of NID should be lower than UMP. For example, if you want to use a 24 output volts modelers, it's only possible to combine with UMP 48 output models, cannot insert it combined with 24 output models. And we have a special feature for UMP series that the channel 4 could be used and connected for a negative output voltage, but it's only possible to be used with UMP24 series. So from the application of the UMP side, the total output operation power cannot exceed 400 watts. For example, if you don't use any output models, we also have a mean output models, then you can also use it at 400 watts. Just to keep all the loads, the total power of all the loads not exceed 400 watts. It's fanless design, that means it gives you extra features. If you have a metal plant, you can connect the UMP with a metal plate for a better temperature performance. Well, you don't need to worry about the overload protection for each unit because it's separated. So the channel 2, channel 3, and channel 4 output models, the output load protection, the overload protection is separately working, but the mean output load is the main control of the overload protections. And because the ground of each output models is not isolated, so it's not possible to connect the output models in series for UMP series. So only parallel possible. So the parallel is also not possible, but for channel 4, it provides you an extra feature to use as a negative output. Then from the soldering, we need to exchange the soldering from the positive to the negative side. And for the applications of UMP, it's suited for the applications without the fan noise. For example, for the ATM, it provides a different output voltage for different application modelers. For example, the sensors, the screens, the machines. Okay, so this is the end of my part, and I will invite Albert to answer your questions. Hold on, please. We are preparing the question and answer part.
Okay, thanks for Dylan's presentation. And I come back to pick out the Q&A section. Sure. Dylan 可以再传一次给我吗？我没收到。Okay, let's see the questions from our participants. Okay. Let's see the chat function. Okay, the first is Johan is asking what is the maximum DC voltage when serial a number of DC unit for the NMP series. Okay, so I think some our partner also answered the questions. Actually, the V out, the maximum module output should lower than SELV. Once it's over the SELV voltage, the safety will be cancelled. And then the second one is Johan also asking, is there any risk for EOLR NP for new projects? The answer is actually we apply the latest industrial safety regulation EN 62368-1 for NP series. So we do not have EOL plan for NP series in recent years. And the second question is, do we have a peak power module for the NMP series? Not at the moment. So please share the demand via the email, share the information with us. And for existing product, you can use HRPN series or EPP 120. It's with the peak power function. And next is the Simplex Renee asks any low noise fan version available for NMP series. For NMP series, we have decreased the fan noise via the firmware modification and improved to the NP, the mass production models. But if the product is still cannot meet the customer requirements, please contact with me and share the system, the customer's system information and the real requirement. Then we can discuss the possible solution for you. And the next is Johan asking the UMP 400 series, the design referred to, the meaning of the design referred to. UMP 400, actually the hardware circuit design referred to the medical safety regulation, but we don't have the document to approve it. So if customer has demand, can pay the safety certification fee, we can apply for this customer. Or also can discuss the possible way, maybe share the cost or other things we can discuss with sales and our service team. And the next one is next one is Mike ask UMP 400 can customer change the output rail by themselves? No, at the moment, no. Because as I mentioned in the presentation, because it's more need to do more welding work, and for this part still need to ask Minwell to support to assemble the UMP 400 model for you. And next one is LCR team ask DRP 3200 or together maximum output power. Currently DRP 3200 rack system altogether maximum power up to 25.6 kilowatt. As the information already mentioned in our product spec. And during my presentation, I show a picture DRP 3200 can parallel in 40 units. It's a system, a power system. We do the internal test, and then they need other accessory to support. So at the moment, please still follow our product spec information. Once the system power solution ready, we will announce to you. And the next one is Looney is asked why we do not integrate the PM bus function into the standard DPU 3200 product. 100 piece of module weighs too much, and okay, for this one because first you can use the DPU 3200 as in it's the standard model with the PM bus. But for the 100 piece MOQ, for this if you need, you can contact with sales to discuss the possible support. And what kind of the next is Johan asked what kind of support can we give to end customer on PM bus issues, switch data and error. I'm not sure you mean the comment or the technical support. So For this question, please drop an email to me or to our sales, and we can check what kind of the support we can provide to you. And the next one is Volgetech ask why you inform about max power like 25.6 kilowatt and expect you at the least possibility that some of the unit connect in parallel with which an overcurrent limiting. For these questions, I think it's more related to technical part. So I ask when to support.
Okay, so for project, you have a question regarding that you ask the power supply when in parallel, for example, that we can in parallel up to 25.6 kilowatt. And then in the spec, we mentioned there's a possibility some of the units connect in parallel will reach the OLP, overcurrent productions, that were in the full load. So it is suggested to reduce the total overcurrent by 10%. I think if I understand your question correctly, what we mentioned in our manual is like we ask you to adjust the voltage of each unit that in parallel in the range that we require, so that it will not, when they in parallel, they will not have some unit will not go to the overload. For example, if you have the two units in parallel and one unit has output voltage much higher than the second one, of course, when they connect to the load and the first power supply, which has higher voltage output, will give the maximum current, and which may trigger the overcurrent limitations. And that's something that we don't want to see, because that might cause the whole overall system not working. So that's why we said we always ask you to follow our suggestions according to the either manual or data sheets, and then to ensure that when you have a unit in parallel, will always be able to work. Okay, so put it simple, just follow everything according to our data sheet and the manual, and when you do the power supplies in parallel, and then it is supposed to work. Of course, there will always some scenario or applications that it might not be able to working, but in that case, please let us know, send us an email, then we will provide you the technical support. Okay, so then we can go to the next one.
the next one is Johan asked, do we offer manual addressing for the unit? I think it's for the PM bus. So the answer is yes. At the moment, only offer the manual addressing for the unit. And next question is, can you read out the address on the PM bus?
I think not. Not, we have to check.
Based my experience is no, but we can do further check for you.
I replied.
We will reply it and via the email to you. And I think it's coming from more questions. Let me use the wait a moment.截图不是选的 X。
那个要按。
And coming for more questions, and Fernando is asking, there's a standard charging CAN bus version protocol for electric car charging. Japanese word for CAN bus. Do you know about this protocol? And for this question, Fernando, please send the email to us. I think we can check further and reply to you. And the next one is Johan's asking, explain how you can add that many products in parallel as shown in application example with the address limitation described. I think this question is for the RP 3200. For how you can add many products. I think this question is for the DRP 3200 and the parallel function for 40 units. Yeah, yes, for this part, because we're still under the internal testing, so if you are interested, please send an email to me, then we can check further. And actually, once we're ready, we will also share the information to our distributor partners and the customers. And the next one is Imanista ask which regulation is supported by NMP. The regulation we certify is 62360A-1. I think I think it's a typo in the presentation material. So let me correct it. It's -1. And the next one is Andy Houghton is asking, is there a charge for medical certification? Yes, it's a certification fee. If customer has a requirement, need to for the certification fee can discuss with the sales, our sales. And the next one, Johan we mentioned the 6061-1 certificate to third edition.
With EMC, the fourth edition. Oh,
About the fourth addition, I think it's for ENC part. For our product, we will because we sell to the market, we will meet the latest the regulation. And next is Tom asked UMP 400 has no active cooling. What's the max altitude to use it? This part, UMP 400 can operate at the altitude up to 5,000. But there's one point you need to check. You can check the note from our product spec, note 6. When you the altitude increase 1,000, the temperature increase 1,000 meter altitude, you need to reduce the operating temperature 5 degree. And the next, okay, it's not Logitech asks, isn't better to write max power? Okay, it's thanks for your suggestion, and for this part, we can discuss with our internal. And okay, I think it's already 11 past 10, and we already asked answer most of the question. And for this Q&A section, we will also send to you by the email. And thanks for participating today's webinar. And stay healthy. And thank you very much for your listening.